Our next governor of Virginia.
Yeah.
We'll get to him in a minute, our current lieutenant governor. I will say that Ralph is doing a number of these events all across Northern Virginia. He's from, the Eastern Shore, Norfolk, and a lot of us don't know him, and he doesn't know a lot of us. Well, I got to tell you, he's getting to know all of us this weekend. They say that Native Americans use every piece of the animal, right? We're using every piece of the Ralph. Every 2 hours is booked. He will tell you, so thank you so much.
Thank you for being here.
Lieutenant Governor, for being here.
Yeah.
Let me talk about my friend over here, Don Beyer. Now, everyone in this room knows Don Beyer. Don Beyer is not only our congressman, he is a passionate person. He is a brilliant person. He really cares in a way that, you can just tell when you talk to Don, he really cares. He's really trying to make a difference on everything from climate change to gun regulation to all the things that we care about. He's also my bridge partner. And I'm going to brag because the first time Don and I played bridge together, we won. We never played bridge before, and in all these fancy tournaments. So I first met Don when I ran against him for Congress. I'll never make that mistake again. And he was the guy who knew all the answers, and it made it really, really hard to run against. So I decided, why beat him, join him. I'm very, very proud to have my congressman Don.
It's not the way it's supposed to work. I mean, I was supposed to talk about him. So thank you all so much for coming out to support Mark. I'm just thrilled. And I want to also recognize, first of all, Libby Garvey is on the ballot.
That's true.
And she's the chair of the Arlington County Board right now. Not in Alexandria, but if you live in Arlington, have Arlington friends, make sure that you vote for her.
Thank you.
It should be a piece of cake, but anyway, charge forward. We also have two distinguished members of the press here. Nick Benton from the Falls Church News Press was been here, probably in the back someplace, who single-handedly has created a sense of community in Falls Church with the newspaper. And Lowell Feld, who publishes Blue Virginia every day, which is probably the greatest source for progressives in Virginia to understand what's happening. So
Thank you.
And I love this guy. Look, politics, you would not believe this, politics actually does attract pretty smart people.
On our side.
Occasional pediatric neurologist. I won the Congressional Spelling Bee last year against the press. And so I figured I designated myself the captain of the team this year. Because it's next week on the 21st National Press Club. So I've been going through the Facebook, the printed one. And boy, there are a lot of people with just beautiful educations in there. But I have to say sincerely, bottom of my heart, the smartest political leader I've ever met is this guy right here. Just absolutely brilliant. He was a presidential scholar in Tennessee.
So was he.
I was Washington, D.C. It was different. But they had one boy and one girl, high school seniors from each state in America. It ends up being about 120 because they pick up the territories in Washington, D.C., who are the young man and the young woman who have the greatest academic promise in a given year. And so, of all the men in the state of Tennessee, in whatever year that was, 1993 or something like that. Yeah, it was from there to Harvard undergrad, from there to Yale Law School, and this incredibly interesting career. But where I really see it was in the bridge. Okay, and now I hate the fact that in that bridge tournament, which was huge, it filled Temple Bethel. And then a huge temple on the other side. There's like a couple hundred people playing.
There were 200 people playing.
Yeah, I was the second youngest. He was the youngest. but a lot of really smart people. Of all the people I played bridge with, the most rigorous, intellectual, analytical, and he talks so fast that he says, "This is why we're going to do this." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" Right at them. So in our public service, where we need people that are very deep thinkers and very well read, we're so lucky to have. The second thing I'd like to say is I don't know anybody in public life as articulate as him, the possible exception of Bill Clinton. His ability to speak off the cuff in perfect sentences with perfect logic is really just astounding. We had 10 debates together. And the other guys, I love them all. This is the one that I'm worried about because he was so good. And when you think that he now serves in a General Assembly that's 66 Republicans and 34 Democrats, and that, as Eileen knows well, that the only thing we're not going to win any votes, but we have to be able to articulate the concerns of the minority as best we possibly can. And I voted for him, and I got my kids and my wife to vote for him because I thought no one could go down there and speak as well as Mark could and represent our values until one day we're in the majority and we can win some votes. And the third thing I'd like to offer is he is exceptionally indefatigable. You've heard the story, I'm sure, about his sister was killed by her husband, and he took the kids to Mexico, and it took years of Mark working very difficult, behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, changing the laws in Tennessee, getting this guy extradited, in prison now, probably for the rest of his life, getting the children raised by the grandparents. He was one of the early great leaders of the LGBT movement, of marriage equality in America. Again, as we all know, a long-term battle. And all the things that we really care about, you do the little things, but the big things take effort, relentlessness, indefatigableness, and he's got that kind of character to do it. So I'm so proud that he is my delegate.
My congressman.
And he'll do it. As thrilling as, unlike Mark, who didn't grow up here, my grandkids are now 5th generation. My granddaughter just started Matthew Murray Elementary School kindergarten the other day. He's a come here. So it's wonderful to have a recent Alexandrian,
Only 15 years. 15 years.
Be able to fill a room like this. And the rooms will only get bigger and bigger for the years to come. So thank you. And now, the most important job in America, but I introduced Al Gore, who was running for president one time, was running for the 3rd highest office in the land. And he looked at me like I was crazy. He was running for president. I said, yeah, after governor and lieutenant governor. So the guy who's the lieutenant governor of Virginia, actually, I mentioned the other day, my middle daughter decided to do a couple of high school beauty contests when she was like 11th grade. Worked out really well in her high school, her college essay things. And everyone there, with all these young ladies, beautifully dressed, they all wanted to be pediatric neurologists when they grew up. And so I finally got to meet a pediatric neurologist, who is, again, probably the most loved person in Virginia right now. A great lieutenant governor, a great state senator, and we're all going to work together to make sure that he is the next governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia.
Yes.